there, Tim Grandle here, and I am in Oregon, Zone 8B, and I'm doing a garden tour here at the very end of July. Actually, are we the first day of August?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow's the first day of August, and my husband, Tim, is behind the camera because Liz, my normal camera girl, is off on a quick mission trip to Mexico. She's building a house down there, and a couple of her other siblings are with her. So we kind of have an empty house, but he's helping me with the video, so that's nice. So we haven't had any rain here, but I wouldn't necessarily call us drought conditions. We're definitely not totally cooked. Our temperatures have been in the upper 90s and for quite a while, and no rain in the forecast, but things are looking pretty good still. So, but it's been a while since I've gotten a tour in here, and I just really am enjoying what I'm doing here. So obviously corn, the first rows of corn are, up to my shoulder now. And I see on this plant over here, I actually got excited today because it was the first tassels are starting to come out. They're hidden in here, but they're here. So I'm gonna show them. Just a little tassel in there hiding. Kind of fun. And all my crooknecks here are on. And this is, I let my cilantro go to seed because I was, one of the things I've been really enjoying is collecting my own seeds, which I didn't expect. That's kind of new to me. So I harvested out my radishes already. And my 2 artichoke bushes are here and here. And that artichoke actually produced I ate 3 artichokes off of them. I'm going to put a picture of them in here. And they were delightful. I'm actually real excited to have more. I don't think this one will get any this year in time, and I wasn't expecting the other one to get in time. So, and I pulled out, with my dinner the other night, I pulled out 1 garlic and went ahead and harvested it and had it in the stir fry with my other vegetables. And I'm happy to say that I have officially successfully grown garlic. Coming up next, I'm gonna do 5 reasons why I garden, and I'll explain more about the venture into new things that's happening for me. Gardening's always been kind of a set routine of what I grow, what I don't grow, and I'm liking the Back to Eden style garden for increasing my delight in planting quite a bunch of different stuff. So over here I had some creature come in the night, and I think it was a possum, and tried to dig under my fence, and so it destroyed a couple of cucumber plants, and they were my lemon cucumbers, which lemon cucumbers are one of the favorite things in the family to grow. My kids and my husband love to take them to their to work and to school or whatever and eat them like an apple. So I have some new ones planted in my greenhouse that'll get ready, and I think I'll actually go ahead and get a harvest off of those before fall happens. And so in the meantime, my little pickles, are you saying hi to the chickens? Yeah, like my little pickles are starting to come on. They're this size, so I'm picking them. But see, watch this. They'll eat. Come here, chick, chick, chick. Come here. You want a bite? Come here. Come here, Mama. You want a chicken? Come here, chick, 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 chick. Come here. She's the leader. You want to eat some? Eat some pickle? You gonna like that? So you need to be broken a little bit. Here you go. Oh yeah, now the other ones are gonna come in there. Come on, chickens. Are you chickens? Oh, you got Mimu there too. So they're definitely figuring it out. And they laid me eggs. In fact, hold on, okay, so I'll show you the egg, but my chickens, actually, they laid their first egg. So these are babies, they've just had them for a couple of months. And they laid their first egg a couple days ago. So I've had 2 of them, 2 eggs so far. Hi, Mimu. That's the girls' kitty cat. Super friendly. My venture into peppers. I came out here the other night with a headlamp on because I was working on another project in the cool of the day. And I came to look at my peppers just because I wanted to, and I realized they were infested with these dinky little pin-sized slugs, which slugs are the enemy in my house. So for the next several days, I went on a massive slug patrol. And I feel like my peppers have grown almost twice their size with the attention. So, and this one actually has some fruit sets on it. Now I know everybody else has huge fruits and everybody's harvesting, but we are definitely slower to get to the point here. And it'll get there. But I have a long season. My first frost date isn't till the somewhere around the end of October to the first 2 weeks into November. So we have lots of time to get stuff going. And watching some of the other gardeners, here's a new experiment. And I know I'm planting them late, but those are actually okra babies. And I don't even know if I like okra. We're gonna try it. If you're an okra person and you have a famous recipe, then you have to throw it our way, because I haven't cooked it before, but I actually saw the videos of people having them in the garden, and I think for me, half the joy is watching the plants grow and seeing how big they get and the beauty of them. So this is something that was a super success for me when my scarlet runner beans filled in and got all the way over. So when I'm sitting in my living room in my house, I can actually look out here and see the arch and see the red hue and have it be completely arced over. Just is like very satisfying. I wasn't sure if there would be enough light in this corner of my garden, sunshine for the whole of the day, because it's very shaded back here, but it's doing fine. And I think I'm going to use another hog panel and do the same arch over the front gate and have a second place where I can grow different things. I did learn a lesson though. I thought that I would be able to take like zucchinis and crooknecks and train them up there, because in my memory they have these huge trains like a pumpkin train. But they don't. They grow one out to the next. So these are patty pans that I thought I was going to be able to train up there. And they're obviously not a training kind of plant. So lesson learned, live and learn. I've got some flowers in here, asters and zinnias and cosmos. And this is what the dirt looks like without doing the mulch system on top. It just gets real dry and not friendly for the plants. The grass holds more moisture. And these are doing great. These are the birdhouse gourds, and I'm hoping that turns out to be something that works. I'm going to grow the gourds that are shaped like an hourglass and let them dry, and then drill a hole in them so that people can use them as greenhouse or as birdhouses, which I'm a happy birder, so that's going to be fun. Green beans have been putting out like crazy. I got some climbers on this side that are coming on a little bit later, and but we've been picking and eating these like crazy. Lots of meals of these going on, and so that's fun. You want some? Feed the help. Hear the crunch. Oh, are you? Funny. So I got my arugula and mustard greens to grow. We enjoyed them, and then oh my goodness, they have bolted so fast. But I have to admit, I've kind of liked the flower, because I think I'm as much into flower gardening as I am into veggie growing. And here is my volunteer pumpkins, is what I think they are, as this is growing. It's all the way down here, this huge old sucker. And I'm starting to see a few of them come on here. There's little ones there, but this sucker is pretty much telling me what it is. I have a short video to show you, because you'll see down at the bottom that I pulled out my snap peas. And I pulled the snap peas out, and then I videoed so you could see what the weeds were behind the bushes. And I would say this is my most successful garden, even though I've gardened for years, because of the fact that I'm doing the Back to Eden. Not having to weed has been a huge joy, because it makes it all about planting and propagating and then pulling out plants and then planting again and succession planting, and it's been really fun. So I've tried a lot more new things. So these are a new kind of bean that I planted. I think these are beans that I started here, and I can't remember if I planted bush beans or pole beans, but a second planting of beans, because we like the beans. And my chard is doing really good, and when I don't, I have to admit that we don't eat all this chard, but it's actually, the bunnies have really liked it. Something good for them, and I give it a little bit of them all the time, and it's been fun. I can't believe how, I thought it was something that would die out like lettuce, but it doesn't, obviously. We're learning a lot, and I harvested my broccoli once, and I'm gonna come out here tomorrow, I think, and clip off all of these little guys again, because they're about ready to start bolting, so I wanna make sure I get them before they bolt. My hollyhock has rust spores growing on it like crazy, and I think this one gets it every year. So my other ones are fine, so I'm trying to decide whether I should pull this one out or not, because it's a couple years old. I think I might get rid of it and then let the other ones reseed and do their thing. So look at, the seeds are dropping, but I probably won't even propagate the seeds from this, because it just really gets it really bad, and I really don't want to share it with the other ones. So these are, I want to say turnips, but they're not turnips, they're something else, a root veggie, can't remember what they're called. And I have cilantro growing up in here, which I'm excited about because I needed a second batch. This is cabbage and Brussels sprouts, which I have never grown before, and I was thinking these were supposed to be all done and out by now, but they haven't set a fruit yet, so I'm not sure if they're not going to, or if I have to wait till fall, or I think these are coming. I think it's coming on the branch, see this, how these have all the things, so I think I just have to keep letting it go. But we have hit the heat of our summer, and I was always told these are a cold weather crop, so maybe they'll just go to seed. I don't know. We'll have to watch and see. So I have acorn squash and what are the other ones? Delicata squash, which I'm looking forward to. And some of mine didn't take. This is probably my worst section of dirt right here because the stuff I put in underneath of the top layer of pine needles and stuff was not very decomposed, and so I've been kind of mostly treating it for next year, just watering it a lot and letting the worms come up and do their thing and hanging out. And then my tomatoes are doing great, and I think that my hubs and I are gonna have to put our heads together on a different wire setup, so that, because the wires we have are the big store-bought ones, but they are nowhere near big enough. I think I would like to make some out of hog panels, or put a hog panel straight up and down thing. So I want to show this real quick before I go. This is yams, or sweet potatoes, and I am actually growing it mostly because I like the way it looks. I think it's pretty. It grows like ivy, but it's obviously going to have a veggie in there, and it's just so pretty. I think I actually looked it up, and they put those in hanging baskets. So I might even have to try that next year where I do hanging baskets and see. So I should probably show this. So I harvested my potatoes out of here, and I have some volunteer squash or cucumbers coming up, and I'll have to wait and see what those are. But this area right here, I did not get the mulch. See how that's kind of mulched in, or in the gray, and this has already got all of these weeds starting to come up. This is probably one of the weediest sections of my garden, and it's just getting started. It'll be totally filled in. There's a bunch of little tiny ones all around, and that's because that's not the Back to Eden style. There's no top covering on this. So I probably pull those weeds and then get some grass clippings. Whoa, that's a big crack, like a branch was gonna fall. Stay over there, branch, don't fall on us. And down here, yeah, big tree, there's the branch, there's one at the bottom. Do you see the one at the bottom that looks like it's, and go ahead and show that, because I'm gonna show one of our projects is to fill in our property line, because you can see our property, the people on the other side don't keep their yard very nice and neat. So we're gonna make a privacy hedge, a living privacy hedge. And we just started, so I'll give you an update on that. And down here, see, I don't know, I think these are, I'm hoping for cucumbers, but I don't know. So when I pulled the potatoes out, these guys volunteered. I didn't plant those. So I have a potato question. Somebody please help me. So I have enough time to plant a second planting of potatoes, like most people do. If I take a potato that I harvested this year and I've let it sit in my window and dry out so it won't rot, and then and if I plant that, even though the little nodules, do those work like sweet seed potatoes? When I looked it up, everybody says just plant new seed potatoes, but you can't buy seed potatoes this time of year, so I'm curious to know. Obviously they're not very rooty like seed potatoes are, but I think that they'll work, and I'm gonna try it. I'm kind of hoping one of you guys will say, yes, it'll work, or no, it won't work, don't do it. So I got zinnias planted. Zinnias are one of my favorite flowers, just because they're so pretty, but like this is the weeding I do. I come in and I just pull out this little weed and say, oh, I weeded, so nice. This is kohlrabi, and I've never grown kohlrabi before, and I think it's pretty. Obviously, I'm new to the brassica family. And then beets, and in my greenhouse I have, these are just red beets, and in my greenhouse I started the beets that are like orange and have different colors on the inside, because I love the beets, and I'm looking forward to having a salad that has sliced up beets of different colors on it. That's one of my fun things. Herbs over here. Okay, so now we're gonna go and do an update on my rose garden that's Back to Eden style. See some of the plants that are coming up. My gladiolas are blooming, different things are happening, and then I'm also gonna do an update on the food forest. So come this way. Before I show you the new flowers that are blooming, I want to tell you a few things that are up and coming that I'm excited about. Because obviously it's going to take a few years for me to get this stuff established. And This was kind of a blank slate this spring, so I'm already looking forward to the changes. So just today, in that planter box right there, I planted passion flowers, which should vine up and grow pretty quickly. And at the bottom, a couple weeks ago, at the bottom of both of the gray trellises is climbing roses. So I'm kind of hoping for that climb up on the fence effect that I have with my with my honeysuckle that's right there, so that this just kind of is thick and luxurious with flowers. But this year, I planted dahlias, and around here in Oregon, dahlias will either freeze out or they'll get frozen out in the winter. So most people dig them up every year, but I've learned that the back to Eden method, if you mulch over the top of them, then lots of people will have them grow in the next year. And when they grow in by themselves without being dug out and replanted, they're like double thick and double big and double tall. So everything is just so much more healthy. So this is kind of like the first year. So everything here is kind of planted and sparse, but it's coming. It's starting to happen. They're so pretty. There's like, the colors they're gonna be. This one's just so pretty. I'm just so excited. And then this one is just opening right now. Can't even quite tell what colors they all are. So pretty, I'm just so excited. And then the same thing with the gladiolas. Every year they'll get in a little bit thicker. The idea would be to have gladiolas that I could cut and put into my house. I kind of want flowers all season long, enough that I can give away, like if I go to a house and as a guest to a house, I can take gifts and I can actually have them in my house and still have them in my yard. I buried a soaker hose underneath the wood chips between my roses so that I could have an easier time, because the roses do not like to water when wet. See how this is, one of my daughters did it. She did all of my roses, see how bleached out that is, and how there's a little bit of mold, dusty on the leaf. That's from being watered on the leaves like 2 weeks ago, and they only did it one time, and it's already, I didn't like it. So I had to cut a lot of the blooms off of this one because they were all burnt. But now we got the soaker hose in there. It should do better, and they'll all, of course, recover. And then I got those ones over there too. So the idea is to pack this thing full. I'm really liking, I have dahlias. I have some dahlias along my house. I have dahlias and zinnias and roses, and I grew my own baby's breath, and I had some what's that, angel lace or whatever, wild growing stuff that I could put in there. And so I've actually had bouquets after bouquets. I kind of put pictures of those on my Instagram if you want to see them, just because they make me so happy. And it's delightful. That's exactly what the point is. And so now we're going to take an update through the food forest. I have myself kind of a mixed up backwards order here on YouTube, so you will be seeing videos that I post about the food forest and about my plant stand, but they'll be later than these. Here's the food forest, and we got another load of mulch, a smaller load, or not mulch, wood chips that we're doing. See over there? And we're just starting to spread it again, but I decided I liked the idea of having distinct places that you walk. Even if I cover the whole thing in wood chips so that the weeds don't grow through, I like the idea of kind of training people that come over here so that this is where you walk. This doesn't have anything planted in it, just as we get going. But I started to increase the amount of mulch that's around the fruit trees and started to water it, because one of the things that I've figured out with the Back to Eden is that it doesn't work until water has saturated all of your wood chips. And most people will do a thin layer of wood chips like this, but it really needs a good 5 to 6 inches of wood chip to choke out whatever is growing underneath. The whole idea is that what's growing underneath has no light to it. But then, in order for the dirt to soften and for the worms and all of that microbiology to happen, it has to be saturated. Well, I won't have to, by this time next year, I won't have to worry about it at all, because the rains that we get here in Oregon will totally saturate it and make it work. But a lot of times in the new places that I've just laid out bark chips, I have to water it in so that it starts to loosen the soil and draw the worms up, and the microorganisms come to life and make all that intricate root system and all that kind of stuff. I know there's names for all of that. But it does take time to get that water to actually penetrate and rain and go all the way through. And a regular dew overnight doesn't do it, doesn't cut it. So you have to kind of water it in. So I have had some great success though. When I know I'm gonna plant in an area, I'll set the sprinkler up a couple of days before and just let it get heavy soaked on there and then just leave it. And then when I come in to work it, the dirt is already so much different than, in just a couple days, it's already so much different than it would be if it had none of that. So we're making this, so I gotta show you something because I had a surprise. Remember when I showed you my asparagus bed that I made over here? Don't let me fall down. Come on, keep coming. So I have this. I watered my 2 pear plants. I got my birthday present, which is it's a little acting like it's still thirsty. It's still getting used to being transplanted in the heat of the summer, which isn't the best. But that my girls got it for my birthday. They got me, and actually Mark too, my son, one of my sons. They gave me a apricot tree for my birthday. But over here, I planted an asparagus bed, and I didn't think that the crowns that I got were viable, and so I planted this like some yams, and I haven't really planted much. And today I came over to water so I could do it, but look at, I got baby asparagus. I'm so excited, and so I'm hopeful that the other side had some in there too, so I'm hoping that they'll actually come up too. I think this stuff grows pretty fast once it hits the light, and so I'm really pretty excited. So I watered I watered it long enough to penetrate the wood chips to get the bed ready for some other things. And then I was like, what is this? I thought it was like fennel or dill, and I thought, well, maybe I did plant something else in here. So I was eating the leaves. I'm like, no, that doesn't taste like that, but it tastes like it's supposed to be there. You know, I had this whole little adventure, and I almost pulled it out, and then I remembered, oh yeah, silly girl, you planted asparagus in there. So that's the update. We're gonna keep the fire pit area so we can sit out here and do that eventually. And it's a lot of work. It's a big project, but we're not in a hurry, and my husband's loving all the changes, aren't you?
Yes.
He's loving all the changes, and so once I get his muscle and brawn behind a project, usually it happens even faster. So I'm loving all the fun, and I'm gonna do another video pretty quickly about why I garden, and I'm actually gonna answer some questions which are probably going to sound different than what most people say for why I garden, because I'm definitely in a different season of life for why I garden. But thanks for listening, and that's Oregon, gardening in Oregon with Back to Eden style. Loving it. Totally recommend it. So here's a few pictures that are follow-ups to some of the other things that are happening around my homestead, my farm. Slugs are enemy 101. So I am pulling out the stops and all the different tricks I can figure out to get ahead of these beasts. And of course, all the little things that we're producing, but also my chickens. Out of my 3 chickens, 1 laid an egg. And here we had a little adventure with a baby chipmunk.
Oh, salty. He's right there.
It's up in the lilac bush now, this poor thing. You need to catch it real quick. Just go in there and grab.
Oh, he was in my hand. Where'd he go?
Right here on this limb.
Salty, come here. Salty, come here. Leave it alone.
Now put it over there on my thing.
Take a picture.
Yeah, I'm in the video. Yeah.
Hi, we have.
Thanks for watching. The subscribe is really important. I'm a brand new baby channel, and my next video will not be long. I'm probably going to post it tomorrow, so you'll see another one coming really quick. Why I garden, and in that one, I'm going to give you a tour of my mom's garden, which you'll understand after you see.